Second episode in a day I'm filming. You know that means big mug of tea. Lads, we finally made it. It is Nurse Appreciation Day. Nurses, 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 nurses. Shout out to all my nurses out there. You're doing God's work. Special shout out to my favorite nurse, my actual real life partner, Dana. Yeah, you thought I was gonna do a bit. No, my actual partner is a student surgical nurse. And she's great at it. Support nurses. Now that the intro's over, let's have a moment of silence for our favorite patient. Louis, your joy and whimsy in the face of the most heart-shattering backstory I've ever heard on this show has captured my heart. You will always hold a special place on this show. So for this episode, I'm going to focus on Dana, Perlin Princess, Donnie, and Emma. Ow. Bow. Whoa! I wanted to do them specifically because this feels like a good timeline for nurses in general. It's Emma's first day, Donnie's just completed his training and is now a nurse officially. Pearl and Princess have been here a while, but they aren't charge nurses like Dana is. Fuck! Dana! I meant Dana! Stupid motherfucking American pronunciations of fucking names. But they aren't charge nurses like Dana, who was born in the Pitt and has been working there since high school. So Dana's managed to survive the Pitt for quite a long time. She even made it through COVID when she says that most of her friends actually quit. The only wobble we know of so far is that at the end of last season, she did quit for a few weeks and then came back. My big question is, why did she come back? So Pearl and Princess are basically her second in command. They can take over the role of charge nurse if Dana's not available, and also they run the Goth Squad. That's right, I'm bringing back the Goth Squad. I don't believe that this has ever been confirmed, but we all know that they're like best friends. There's no way that they don't hang out outside of work at least once a week to just talk about shit. Donnie, as I mentioned in episode 1, is a nurse practitioner now officially, so he is fully qualified and he has the skills to show for it. He's also a new father and the best bro you could ask for in the Pitt.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder? And it is Emma's first day, so we don't actually know a whole ton about her. We just know that she's from Michigan, up near Canada, so she also speaks French, which is fun. So for discussing these guys, I'm gonna go from newest to oldest, so let's start with the sweetest little angel ever, Emma. As we know, she's new and we don't know much about her, but based off of her personality, I think it's quite clear what kind of role she's going to be playing in the story of the Pitt. Our lovely Emma is obviously quite nervous about starting work, but she comes in and she's got a big smile on her face and she throws herself right into it. Because she's so fucking nice. This is in clear contrast to Dana, who's obviously very at home in the Pitt, but basically always looks like she'd rather be somewhere else. But Emma is asking questions and she's doing whatever she can. When she gets thrown something she wasn't quite prepared for, she takes it in stride and she just goes for it. Emma is like the most ideal student nurse a hospital can get, which I think will go to show how hard burnout can hit a person. There are thousands of hurdles being set up for Emma that no one has prepared her for. I can't imagine that one shift is going to be the thing to break her, although we do know that this one shift is probably going to be pretty bad. But I think having all this talk about all the problems that are suffocating nurses are going to be best reflected on Emma. She's so sweet and so nice, but there's a good chance she gets knocked down before she can actually get on her feet. Donnie, however, has found his feet. He's fully into the swing of his work, and even though he has a newborn at home, he seems to be juggling his personal and work life well enough to still bring good vibes to work. And that's important. Sure, he's grabbing food at any given moment and was running on caffeine, apparently.
How many cups have you had today?
Don't judge me.
Just asking.
You're judging.
So it's not entirely smooth sailing for him, but he clearly hasn't lost the passion for what he does. I think this is clearly displayed when he shows Joy the 2 tattoos he has on his wrist. One has DC, Death and Chaos, not Detective Comics, and the other... Is it actually DC? That's hilarious. And the other has MB, Miracles and Blessings. Each one represents a high and a low in his life, namely the Pittsburgh shooting and the birth of his daughter. This is a great shorthand way of displaying the balance that Donnie's managed to find in his life. He's not ignoring the trauma that comes with his work. It happened and he will remember it. But the reminder of his daughter just shows that he won't let the darkness of his job overshadow the happiness outside of it. Both tattoos are the same font, they're the same size, they're mirror images of each other. Guys, Donnie is the best. Perla and Princess really get a nice spotlight in this episode. For the first 8 minutes, we're basically only in their points of view. In their scenes, I think they represent two sides of the same coin. After Louis' death, Princess is able to keep her head up and keep providing great care for her patients. She brings levity to a patient who's dying of cancer and trying to use a bedpan.
Leave this all behind and escape to Love Island.
She's comforting the sister of a patient because Javadi made her cry. Javadi! She uses the small amount of ASL she has to try and keep a deaf patient in the loop while they wait for a natural interpreter. She's even taking time out of her day to plan a birthday party for Javadi with Perla. She's just hitting every mark and doing it wonderfully. Then Perla is showing the tougher sides of the job. Now before I get into it, I don't think that Perla's doing a bad job, okay? It's clear to me that Perla was very close with Louis. Langdon asks her if he has any family, she's the one to volunteer to clean him up, and even just the reaction to his death communicates that this was a particularly rough loss. For the first half of the episode, she seems pretty lost. She's going around and letting people know about Louis' passing, and rightly getting pissed at Ogilvy for being an insensitive prick about it, and is very much relieved when Dana says she's going to take over cleaning the body. I think it's fair to say that these two ladies have been in the business for about as long as each other have. So showing the strength that nurses have to still go about their day, but also the toll that a huge loss can have on even the most experienced workers, is a really good way of displaying the problems with the healthcare system. Neither are at the end of their ropes, but they also can't quite take the losses as well as they maybe could at the beginning of their careers. And now on to Dana. Oh, Dana. You are so loved. Please take care of yourself. Now, at the end of season 1, it really looked like she was going to quit her job. I mean, she packed up all her shit and everything, but thank God she took a few weeks and now she's back. But it's very understandable why she would leave, even just in this episode. In just an hour, she has to chastise a patient for grabbing Emma. Excuse me! Do not touch her, bitch. Has to deal with admin's blood pastries. Basically a cheapskate way for the hospital to try and keep the staff happy without actually doing anything.
But absolutely, send donuts.
And is still hurting from the effects of COVID. Like another certain doctor that we know. There's been an obvious change in Dana from last season to this season. Even Robbie makes a comment that she's a bit more punchy than usual. Punchy's my baseline now. As much as she's still doing her job and doing it well, she has a lot less patience than usual. This is made clearer when Al-Hashimi and Robbie are debating where to put the prisoner patient. Al-Hashimi wants to give him some privacy, whereas Robbie wants to keep him in full view of everyone. Dana sides with Robbie, wanting to focus on staff and patient safety. I can't say for sure if she would or wouldn't have made the same decision last season, but I think it's safe to say that in this moment, she's definitely thinking more clinically than empathetically. But then, Al-Hashimi says something that has some sort of effect on Dana.
Just because you know it's broken doesn't mean you stop trying.
In response to this, Dana visits the prisoner and does something to him to make him stay in the hospital for longer and get better care rather than go back to the prison and get shit care. I don't think it's anything bad. I think she just messes with the equipment. I couldn't tell you. Robbie is quite surprised by this. He thinks that she doesn't go the extra mile for her patients anymore. I don't think that this is him being a dick. I think Robbie is surprised to figure out that Dana still has something in her that cares, where maybe he doesn't anymore. Okay, so a question I posed at the very beginning of the episode is, why did Dana come back? And also, why did she keep coming back? For the whole of this episode, we're shown the ups and downs of a nurse's career and how it can slowly drain you. So, what's happening with Dana? In season 1, Whittaker asks her a similar question, and she says that she keeps coming back because she likes helping people, especially the people who don't normally get help. But I'm not sure if that's enough for her anymore, especially considering the lack of satisfaction she seems to be getting out of her job right now. Dana has spent basically her whole life at the hospital. From birth. At home she has 2 children who are all grown up, and the only other thing we hear is that she has a mother-in-law that she'd like to stay away from. So it seems like she doesn't have a whole lot going on for her outside of work, no major hobbies, and no kids to run around after. Here's the way I look at it. If you're like me, or like anyone else, you probably had a bad time in high school. I remember dreading it every night and just trying to make it through day by day until I graduated. But now, years down the line, I find myself missing it. I'm telling myself that I didn't appreciate what was good about it, like hanging out with your friends and like a schedule that you could just follow and an endless supply of teachers to annoy. And then I look at the bad things and I'm like, I could probably handle it now, or maybe they weren't as bad as I remembered. Apart from the uniforms, that material it was made from should be banned under the Geneva Conventions. But there's something about leaving a system you've been part of your entire life and being desperate to cling on to it no matter what. And the more we see Dana struggle, the more I'm worried it's not going to improve for her unless we have some sort of miraculous intervention. So as much as I hate to say it, I think the chances of Dana leaving us permanently is higher than we'd hope. And listen, Dana isn't young. Sorry. She's gonna be leaving sooner rather than later. But it seems to me like no one is prepared for it in that hospital. Princess and Perla can step up, but they have no confidence in themselves that they're actually able to do it well. So I think Dana's gonna have to either find her second wind and keep trucking on for a good few seasons, or she's gonna find someone and train them up to replace her. She could do both. She could do both. I think that might be the only way that she could really leave the pit, is if she leaves it knowing that it's gonna get looked after. There is also a third terrible option. She might break. Now, I couldn't even begin to tell you how exactly this would happen, but from what I can see, Dana is suffering quietly as well. The only person who could maybe sense something is wrong would be Emma. She's the one who always gives her a little look whenever Dana's getting stressed. She's only just met Dana, and so, like, she could probably be like, your vibe is off. I don't know what you were like before, but this feels wrong. So, maybe we're gonna get a mirror image of the end of season 1. Like how Whittaker found Robbie crying in the morgue, maybe Emma's gonna be there for Dana when she's at her lowest. Emma could very well be the one to help Dana through the last few hours of a shift straight from the 7th level of hell. But we're not at the finale yet, so let's take a rapid fire look at what else the fuck happened this episode. Okay, so Robbie's friend Duke is a motorcycle buddy. Whittaker had an alcoholic uncle who died. I have yet to hear one nice thing about Whittaker's past. Langdon is still married. Mystery solved. Sorry all those people who ship Langdon and Mel. Couldn't be me. Whittaker made a point of letting Langdon call Louis' emergency contact, which I feel like could be a moment of going, I actually do trust you, ignore my last fumble. Dana is the funniest person in the ER.
A tooth on it?
No one called Langdon while he was away at rehab. That's fucked up. At some point, Santos and Whittaker are alone paying respects to Louis. This could just be an excuse for Santos to, like, take a quick nap, but I like to believe it's because they're best friends and Santos is comforting Whittaker. Dana tells Langdon that she doesn't think that Robbie's sabbatical is going to last anything longer than a month, and I'm obsessed with the way she keeps kind of shifting her opinion of the sabbatical depending on who she's talking to. Apparently Robbie has the whole trip mapped out, including a couple of stops along the way. I don't know why, but it kind of irked me. What are the stops? Why would you say it? It's because it's a patient, you know, he's not going to just fucking be like, I'm stopping at this waterfall, and then da. But just like, why would the writers say that? Unless you want me to think, I don't know what I'm thinking. The AI tool fucked up, yes. Santos got blamed for it. Boo. Perla gives Santos a 5-hour energy drink for the last 6 hours of their shift, plus 3 other episodes. So, we'll see what the maths does there. 6 minus 5 plus 3. Those last 4 hours are gonna suck dick and balls. Remember that doll in the first episode that Al-Hashimi was using to train some of the younger doctors? It's in the break room all dressed up for the 4th of July. Who did this? I want us to keep going back to the break room and it's in a different spot every time. The Pit is a comedy. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. We're going to talk about the Michael moments. They're not that bad. I'm just going to give 1 point for the whole prisoner dilemma. I can't do that again. Definitely something wrong with the way he wanted to deal with the prisoner. As much as I kind of get it, if I was the prisoner, I'd prefer Al-Hashmi's option. So, sorry, Robbie. He does a double fist pump to Whittaker after he says that his fucking uncle died of alcoholism. There's better ways to respond to that. And then he sends this cheap shot to Langdon in the middle of trying to help out with them. Louis, you know he's a good doctor. Stop fucking with him. Also, there's a moment where he assumed that a nurse was coming to talk to him, but actually she was talking to Al-Hashmi. You're not the only attending anymore. I understand, but I also, like, fucking get with the program. He's such a man. But hey, I'm also going to give him a pro for remembering Louis' backstory and telling it to everyone. especially because when he got told it would have been during COVID. That was well done. Good job, Robbie. You're not a complete piece of shit. We know this. This was a fun episode. I'm glad we got to talk about Dana. It's super dumb that I haven't been able to talk about her yet. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And if we can all just have a last moment of silence for our boy Louis. His fucking wife. I'll actually cry if I think about it. I was doing a bit, but now I might actually cry. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye.